It's December 9th, 1967, and the Boston Bruins, leading the Eastern Conference standings, arrive at the Gardens to meet the Maple Leafs. You're watching Molson Canadian Maple Leaf Classics on Leafs TV. 19-year-old whiz kid Bobby Orr leads the Bruins along with former Blackhawks stars Phil Esposito and Ken Hodge. The Leafs have Frank Mahovlich, Dave Keon, and youngster Gary Unger. December of 1967 sees the National Hockey League under a very new light. The Bruins have arrived with 33 points. This is a much different Boston team, with the young Orr raising eyebrows and the big trade with Chicago that has landed Esposito, Hodge, and Fred Stanfield. The big bad Bruins are certainly upon us, led by Harry Sinden. The interns of the Iced Igloos tonight are Ed Johnston of the Boston Bruins and the China Wall Johnny Bauer for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Because it's December 9th, 1967, the Leafs and Bruins. You're watching Molson Canadian Maple Leaf Classics on Leafs TV. 19-year-old Bobby Orr is into his second NHL season and en route to 11 goals and 31 points. Phil Esposito and John Busick will share the scoring leadership on the club with 35 goals apiece. Ron Ellis will enjoy one of his best years with 28 goals this season, and Bob Pulford will hit the 20-goal mark, while 23-year-old Mike Walton will score 30. Mike "Shaky" Walton left Kirkland Lake for a hockey career in Toronto, starring for the St. Michael's Majors, Neil McNeil Maroons, and the Toronto Marlboros, going to the Memorial Cup 3 straight years. 6 seasons in Toronto followed, including the Stanley Cup run in 1967. Walton was traded to Philadelphia in February of 1971, but never played a game with the Flyers, as he was dealt that same day to Boston. With the Bruins, he won yet another championship in 1972. In 588 NHL games, Mike Walton had 201 goals and 448 points. And Shaky joins us today here on Maple Leaf Classics this evening, and it's always a pleasure to see you, Shake.
It's great to be here.
And of course, we get to see you regularly at the Air Canada Centre, hobnobbing with the rich and famous over there in your platinum seats. It's very impressive.
We've got some good seats.
Yes, you do. Nicely done. Michael, as this season starts, expansion has arrived. There's an East and West. The league has changed. There are a lot more players involved. And the Leafs are coming off the 67 Stanley Cup championship with an aging team. But obviously that 67 run, of which you were a part of, had to be magical.
It was great. And I just came in halfway through the season, of course, and I was part of it, and it was fantastic. And we got such great goaltending, which everybody knows, and that was the main reason why we really we won the cup. And Johnny and Terry Sajak played super.
Now in 67, the team has gotten off to a decent start in defense of it. You're battling the Bruins for first place in the East at this particular point in the season. But are there signs that maybe it's a little older? You're obviously playing a much more integral part in this team.
Yeah, I mean, I was young and going up and got an opportunity to start the season with Toronto, which was great. And I was playing more. And but there was a lot of changes going on. You probably noticed the game that Keelan was playing wing sometimes with me, and Mahovlich was on sometimes, and Punch was just throwing guys all around the place, and it was very unsettling, really.
Now, in the first half of the season, you make the All-Star team, and you had a great opening start to this season.
Yeah, it was great, but I think that even made Punch even hotter at me, so it wasn't great. I mean, instead of, in those days, Punch really put everybody down, including Frank and a few other guys, but instead of encouraging the young players like I was, he didn't do that, and it was just the game was passing him by because more young kids were coming up, especially with expansion, and the game was changing, and I was part of that change, and I was playing well, yet he kept on putting me down.
Now, the Boston Bruins, you can sense this is a team very much on the rise. They have literally fleeced the Chicago Blackhawks in acquiring Hodge, Stanfield, and Esposito.
Well, that was a great, biggest trade probably. I don't know anyone that's bigger. Phil went on to be, just a superstar and an unbelievable scorer. So he played great for them. The young kid there, Bobby Orr, of course, he was another story.
Just coming with ordinary reviews, eh?
Unbelievable. Unfortunately, didn't play much in the game, but he's just an unbelievable hockey player, and he changed the whole Boston team.
He changed, never mind that team.
Right, that's right.
He changed hockey.
Yeah, he changed hockey, that's right.
There was no one really, Doug Harvey could control the game in his day, but there was no one at this particular point, and ever since really, that has been able to literally it was like watching a gear shift. He either
Yeah.
sped it up, slowed it down, he could stop it, he could do whatever he wanted.
He had so many changes of pace. People didn't know if he was, and they were scared to go at him because they'd hesitate because they knew he could just take off. And this was a great thing. He had that speed, unbelievable. First, second, third, gone. It was unbelievable.
And if we'd had orthoscopic surgery then,
Yeah.
he may still be playing.
It was sad, really, because it was, he got hurt in junior, and they never corrected his knee, and it got worse and worse as he played. Unfortunate.
Mike Shaky Walton is our guest. We're going to take him back to Maple Leaf Gardens for December the 9th, 1967, as the Big Bad Bruins have arrived in town. You're watching Molson Canadian Maple Leaf Classics on Leafs TV.
All set for the face-off at center ice to start this first period. And it's Walton starting with Ellis and Carlton. And for the Boston Bruins, Derek Sanderson at center ice, Williams on the right side, Shack on the left, Dallas Smith with Bobby Orr. Orr back in his own zone for the Bruins. Into Dallas Smith, up for Shack. Shack knocked it out over the line, knocked Horton down, gave him a shove for good measure, and it's Smith now to center ice, and he just shoots it in the Leaf zone. Back for it is Wayne Carlton. Carlton for Walton, didn't see it. Knocked back in the Leaf zone. Rupp for Wayne Carlton, number 25. He's starting out. Up to center. Ran into Hodge, who dumped the Leaf player, and there's going to be a penalty there to Kenny Hodge. Toronto Maple Leafs with a man advantage have Mike Walton with Bob Pulford, Peter Stamkowski, Jim Pappen, and Larry Hillman. For the Boston Bruins, Bobby Orr, Eddie Westfall, Skip Creek, number 21, and Dallas Smith remains out there on the defense with Orr. The puck is in the Boston zone. Pulford after it, hooked it back into the corner. Orr lifts it high into the crowd. Face off in the Boston zone to the left. Leafs playing every man up. They have a man advantage, 6 men to 5. Pulford, Stamkowski, Walton, Pappen, and Hillman all inside the blue line. Westfall takes the face-off for the Bruins. He has Orr, Craik, and Smith. Stamkowski lost the puck to Bobby Orr. Orr shot it off the boards. Craik stopped by Hillman, but gets it down the ice as Pappen fell. Here's Jim Pappen in the corner. Bauer fell. Pulford comes down the ice with a pass for Stamkowski, and he failed to reach Walton. Pappen turned. Back to Hillman. Just shot it around on the boards, and it goes into the corner on the far side. Stamkowski misses it. Break for Westfall, and Hillman gets back. Hillman back of the Leaf net to Pappen. Pappen gets it out over the line and shot back. Hillman of the Leafs to Stamkowski, up for Pulford. Pulford couldn't control it. Bobby Orr shoots it back. Hillman in the corner, back of the net. Hillman comes out to his own blue line. At center, shoots the puck into the Boston zone. It's off the boards. Bobby Orr shoots it, not out. Pappen right out of Westfall. And Westfall nearly had a perfect breakaway. Back for Stamkowski to Walton. Walton coming from the side, right on with a backhand. Stamkowski trying to center it. Pappen's in front, and Bobby Orr picks it up. Covered by Pulford. Rupp's pass. Stopped by Craik to Smith, who hands it to Pappen. Pappen takes a long shot that's wide. Boston have returned to full strength, and that's icing. Face-off is in the Leaf zone to the right. Number 17 is Fred Stanfield at center ice. McKenzie on one wing, Busick on the other. A shot. Fowler stopped out of the deflection and score! Stanfield. On the face-off, the puck is back in the Boston zone.
Boston
Armstrong
goal
took a
scored
shot,
by number
not by
17, Stanfield. Assist number 9, Busick, and number 26, Aury. The time, 2:58.
The Leafs shoot the puck down the ice. It's over the red line. That'll be ice. Face-off is in the Leaf zone. Rupp off the boards for Mahavlich. Mahavlich gets it up to center ice. Keon picks it up over the line with Mahavlich, the backhand. Keon goes after it. Aury covers Keon. Play is called. And Aury comes to the penalty box.
Boston penalty to number 26, Aury. 2 minutes for elbowing. Toronto penalty to number 14, Keon. 2 minutes for elbowing. The time, 3:34.
Teams are five-a-side. Ellis Conacher with Hillman and Pronovo. Smith with Green, Shack, and number 16, who is Derek Sanderson. Teams are five-a-side. Bauer to Marcel Pronovo, up to Conacher. Stopped. Here's Sanderson's shot. That's wide. Hillman to Conacher. Stopped by Green to Shack. For Sanderson, it's knocked out again. Now it's Teddy Green to Shack. Back for Sanderson. They're closing in. He slips it through. Back is dumped by Hillman. There's going to be a penalty here to the Leafs. Hillman gets a hold of it. And Hillman gets the gate.
Toronto penalty to number 2, Hillman. 2 minutes for interference. The time, 4:16.
Boston Bruins with a man advantage, playing 5 men to 4. They have Phil Esposito, Johnny Busick, Bobby Orr, and Fred Stanfield. The Leafs will use Colford, Horton, and Rupp. In the penalty box are Aury, Keon, and Hillman. All set to go. The puck is dropped. Busick to Esposito, intercepted by Fulford, who got it out over the line. Back for Orr, over the blue line. It dropped past to Busick. Busick takes his shot. Bauer takes a whack at it twice. Busick gets it back to Stanfield. A shot. He hit Fulford on the skate. Kept in by Orr. Orr after it. Behind the net. Over to Busick. Busick in front for Esposito and stopped by Ruff and cleared down the center. Back for it is Stanfield. Over to Busick, back to Stanfield. To Esposito at center. Stopped by Rupp. Stanfield is given a shot. Orr over the line. Drop pass to Busick. Over to Stanfield. He took a shot. Rupp stopped it. Another shot. Esposito couldn't get in front of Horton. Esposito down. And it's shot down the ice. Javier up to Esposito. He's covered. Back to Orr. Over the line. Went between Rupp and Horton. Has it in the corner. Back to Busick. Busick right in front to Esposito. He shot it wide. Keon's on the ice. And Stanfield let one go wide. Leafs are still short-handed. The shot is wide. Javier lets one go, and that's wide. Kept in by Stanfield to Busick. Out in front to Esposito. He's got by Horton. There's going to be a penalty here to Horton for tripping. .5:55 is the time of the tripping penalty to Horton. The Leafs are 2 men short. The Boston Bruins at full strength. It's Esposito, Williams, McKenzie, Stanfield, and Orr. For the Leafs, Rupp with Stanley and Pulford. From the face-off, Rupp shoots it out over the blue line. Stanfield knocked it down with his glove to Orr. Back to Stanfield. Stanfield over for Orr. To McKenzie over the line. And a shove by Stanley. Pass it right to Pulford, and Pulford shoots it down the ice. Stanfield back for it. To Esposito. To Stanfield. Up over his own blue line to center. A long shot. That's wide into the corner. Leafs are now 1 man short. And that is icing called against Boston. Leafs a man short. Boston at full strength. Esposito with Hodge. Along with Ted Green. Now they're making a change. Stanfield is staying out there. Hodge, Ted Green, Skip Craik, and Ross Lonsbury. Lonsbury playing on the left wing. So Stanfield feeds the pass to Green. Up the center. Shot it into the Leaf zone. Stopped by Bauer. Craik went after it. Lonsbury centered it. Green just missed the corner. Hodge covered by Keon. It's hooked loose to Teddy Green. There's the shot. It's gone! A deflection! Between the legs of Johnny Bauer was Ken Hodge.
Boston goal scored by number 8, Hodge. Assist number 6, Green, and number 21, Craik. The time 7 minutes even.
Puck is back in the Leaf zone on the faceoff. Ellis can't get it out. Hodge for Lonsbury. To Craik right in front, and he shot 5 feet wide. Havlich to Ellis. They're checked. Hodge back for Lonsbury. Poked by Horton back to the Boston defense. Green, a pass. Ellis intercepted. It goes to Stanley, and he flips it high into the crowd. Face-off outside the blue line. Sanderson with Williams and Shack. Walton, Mahavlich, and Ellis. Stanley knocks Sanderson down. It's cleared to the far wing by Gary Doak. Shot into the Leaf zone. Stanley. He's given a shove by Sanderson. Shack a shot. That was stopped. Now they're going to steps into his check, and we have Horton, I believe, going to get a penalty. Tripping. .801, a tripping penalty to Horton. That's the fourth penalty in a row to the Maple Leafs, and they're shorthanded. Esposito with McKenzie and Busick. Orr and Stanfield. Conacher and Pulford, along with Marcel Pronovo and Larry Hillman. All set for the face-off in the Leaf zone. Boston with a man advantage, 6 men to 5. Stanfield moves into face-off now with Pronovo, who gets the draw. Pulford shoots it to the board. Marcel Pronovo fails to get it out. Poland a shot goal. Bauer stopped that. McKenzie tried to get the rebound. Pronovo then to Pulford, knocked down by Orr. Another shot. He fanned on it. Esposito a drive, and Bauer caught that. Boston with a man advantage, playing 6 men to 5. Keon and Armstrong now to kill off this penalty. Bruins playing every man inside the blue line. On the face-off, it goes to Hillman. Hillman along the boards, kicked at it. Busick is given a shot. Busick stopped by Armstrong, who shoots it down the ice. Torres back for it. To Esposito. To Bobby Orr. Stanfield then to Esposito. Up he comes at center. A long shot is wide. Bauer left us behind the net. Hillman shot at Armstrong. Failed to get it out. Stanfield tried to get it in front. McKenzie then gives it to Busick. Back to Esposito. His shot hit Armstrong. Armstrong races down the ice, but Johnson is way out of the net. Busick in his own zone. The pass to McKenzie. To Stanfield. At center, a long shot is off the boards. Bauer came out of the net, knocked it to the corner. Marcel Pronovo then shoots it down the ice. Back for Stanfield. Coming up the center ice. Got the puck into the Leaf zone. Pulford given a jolt by Shack. Conacher trying to control it. Not out. Here's right in front. Allen! Before he get a drive. And it's cleared off the boards down the ice. Horton returns, and the Leafs are at full strength. Up for Eddie Shack. Given a shove by Wolf. Conacher fell. And he's hit by Ori, who's given a shove by Rupp.
Boston Bruins have gotten off to a good start in the first period. Fred Stanfield with his 8th and Ken Hodge with his 5th. Mike Walton is our guest. Michael, part of the hockey community, a very large part at this particular point, just around this time, starts up in Orillia with the Orr-Walton hockey camp that became a mainstay for youngsters in this area, and maybe almost a start of what has blossomed into an almost a huge industry of all over the place. But this was a big venture for you.
Yeah, we had a great sports camp, and Bill Waters was the camp director, and we had a great sports camp. And a lot of kids came from Boston, the U.S., and naturally 50% or more were from Canada. But we had a great camp, and the biggest thing that Bobby and I always ran into the problem is that the parents bringing the kids to the camp and asking Bobby in particular to make them make the NHL. And we used to have quite a few discussions with the parents saying that, and Bobby was adamant about the kids were here to have a good time, to play all the sports, all the water sports, the golfing, the football, the soccer, the tennis. We had everything. And it was a great, great camp. And Bobby did a great job along with Bill Waters and myself. And kids loved it.
But Michael, at this point, you're playing with the Leafs. You are not a member of the Boston Bruins, which you would become later and become a teammate of Bobby Orr. But you do have a great relationship with Bobby already because you're about the same age. And,
Right.
And now you also have the same agent.
That's right, the famous Al Eagleson, of course. And Al, we were working up in Halliburton at a hockey school for Jim Gregory, another name we're familiar with, at the camp up in Halliburton. And Bobby and I jumped in a car one day and drove over to Aurelia, and there was an old hotel on Lake Couchiching, and we ended up buying it along with a bunch of other partners who we eventually, Bobby and Al and myself, bought out, and there was just the three of us.
Now, some famous names that might have gone to that camp and gone on to...
There was a lot. I mean, off the top of my head, there was Jimmy Rutherford, Billy Harris, Steve Schutt was there. There was a lot of kids actually went through that camp.
And you know, in my relationship with Bill Waters and traveling around, repeatedly, we'll go someplace and a young businessman will come up and say, do you know Mr. Waters, do you remember me? And he'll give out a name, and Bill will usually remember it. And yes, I was at the Orr Walton camp, and they look upon that as one of the great summers of their life.
Yeah, I just the other day I was out and a gentleman came up to me and said he went to the camp, and I always look at them and said, was it a good or a bad experience? I wasn't sure, but he said it was great, and there's so many people that went through that camp.
Can you make me into an NHL player?
I think so.
Yeah, right. All right, well, it is 2-0 in favor of the Boston Bruins midway through the first. Let's go back to the gondola.
Boston penalty to number 26, Ori. 2 minutes for high sticking. Toronto penalty to number 4, Rupp. 2 minutes for high sticking. The time 10:16.
On the face-off, Horton to Stanley. Teams are even at 5 aside as Ori and Rupp are in the penalty box. Green. A pass up for Shack. Shot it into the lead zone. Sanderson goes after it. Ellis is there first. Sanderson took it away from him. Back to Smith. That shot is wide. Sanderson centered it. Horton with it. For Ellis. Smith shot it in offside. All set for the face-off outside the blue line. Walton, Stanley, and Ellis facing Craig, who's out there now with Hodge, Smith, and Green. Mike Walton goes away from Craig, and his own blue line to center. Flipped it over the line for Stanley. There's the shot, and it's wide. Horton lets one go that's way wide. Stanley moves up, ran into Green. Smith is hit by Walton. Stanley hooked it loose. Green goes after it. Covered by Walton. Ellis stepped into Smith. Drake goes down the ice. At center. Takes a long shot. Bauer stopped it. Cleared out over the blue line. Pappen tried to get loose. For Stamkowski. Knocked over the blue line. Craig passes it back to Smith. To Hodge. Stopped by Horton. Shot down the ice, going over the red line, and that'll be icing called against the Leafs, but it'll be a penalty to Boston. All set for the face-off. The Leafs have a man advantage, 5 men to 4. In 9 seconds, Rupp will return with Ori, giving the Leafs a man advantage of 6 men to 5. Now set to go. The puck is dropped. Walton tipped it. Picked off by Westfall, and he shot it down in the Leaf zone. Jim Pappas. Coming out with Walton and Pulford. Long shot off the boards. McKenzie right on the Stemkowski stick. Back to Papin. Into Walton. Walton waits. Lost it off his stick and it's cleared down the ice. Larry Hillman. Leafs have a man advantage to Mike Walton. To Stemkowski. He's over the line. Took his shot. It was wide. Hillman tried to get the rebound, and it shot up for McKenzie. McKenzie stops off Westfall, and it's Papin then to Hillman. Hillman, Stemkowski, Pulford, and Walton. Cleared over the line and shot out again. Papin to Hillman. To Pulford. Shot it over the line into the corner. Picked off there by number 25, who is Gary Doki. Lost it and came out in front. Roy's getting a tilt by Mahavlich. Here's right in front to Keon, a shot. And Johnson stopped that. It goes back up to center ice. Over for Mahavlich, who took a jolt from Sanderson. Papin keeps it in to Armstrong. There's the shot, and Orr fell in front of it. Face-off is in the Boston zone to the left. Leafs have a man advantage. From the face-off, Keon off the boards. Here's Horton's drive, and he shot it 10 feet wide. Rough then to Mahavlich. Right to Keon, and he's too well covered. He couldn't get a shot, and it's cleared down the ice by Hodge. Teams are at full strength. Horton to Armstrong with Keon. Tipped it over the line. Mahavlich tried to get to it. Keon back for Horton, too far. He has to go back into his own zone. Gets away from Lonsbury, up to Keon. Keon shot it off the boards. Grabbed by Johnson and held on to it. Face-off is in the Boston zone to the right. Oliver, Conacher, and Ellis now with Horton and Rupp. Conacher back to Rupp. To Conacher, went by him. Ellis in the corner. Centered it. Oliver is knocked down. Cleared back to center ice. Esposito tried to go through the defense. Bauer shot it to the boards. Lonsbury to Esposito. Horton after it. Hodge centered it out. Esposito tried to center it. Muriel was knocked down by Lonsbury. And it's Horton, a long pass for Conacher. He shoots, and he shot wide, but it was offside. Hello, Canada, and hockey fans in the United States. Bill Hewitt and Brian McFarland here at Maple Leaf Gardens in Toronto. The score
Boston
with
penalty to
4:27
number
remaining in
16,
this first
Sanderson.
period.
2 minutes
Boston
for
2,
tripping. The
Toronto
time,
Maple Leafs,
15:33.
15:33 is the time of the penalty to Derek Sanderson of the Bruins. It's the 10th penalty of this first period and the second in a row to the Bruins. The Leafs had 4 in a row. It's 2-0 for Boston. Stanfield and Hodge have been the goal scorers for the Bruins. There's Smith shooting it wide of the Leaf net. Wayne Carlton with Tappan, Walton, Hillman, and Ellis. Skip Drake with Eddie Westfall to kill off the penalty for the Bruins. Here comes Ellis. A pass to Carlton over the line. Stops. Off the boards to Walton. Walton closing in with a shot, and there's Bobby Orr stopping another one. He's been stopping them all night, Brian.
The second time in the past minute or so he's done that, Bill. Bobby Orr, number 4 for Boston. There's the out-of-town scoreboard. Montreal 1, Chicago 0. Richard from Provo and Gilles Tremblay, and we've had a rousing first period here tonight. Plenty of close calls, tremendous body checking throughout this first period. Wide open, crowd-pleasing play. Lots of mistakes, by the way, made by both clubs, and plenty of penalties, as Bill pointed out.
As a matter of fact, the penalties are even now, 5 apiece. Ed Green to Craik, and he shoots it down to center. Back at the blue line, Hillman for Mahavlich for Keon to fail to click. Now then, Hillman shoots the puck into the Boston zone, and Green goes after it. Gets away from Keon. Up for Westfall, and he shoots it down the ice. So it's Walton with Keon, Hillman, Mahavlich, and Horton. Westfall, Craik, Ori, and Green. A pass to Keon. At center, over for Walton. He left it there for Keon. Back to Horton. There's the shot to Mahavlich, and he couldn't get the rebound. Here's back to Horton again to Mahavlich. Here comes the shot, and he missed the corner. Hillman then to Walton. Into Keon. Back to Walton. He couldn't get his drive. Keon and Craik with Green. They stick up high. Here's Mahavlich stealing it for Walton. He couldn't get a shot. Mahavlich, the backhand is wide. Walton centers it. Mahavlich stand on his shot. He was covered, and they pile in front of that Boston goal.
Oh, plenty of action in front of Eddie Johnson on that series of plays, with Walton and Mahavlich and Keon all digging for that loose puck. Neither Mahavlich nor Walton could get a clean shot away, and there you see Eddie Johnson covering up. Stanfield opened the scoring, his 8th of the year from Busick and Ori at 2:58. Then Hodge, his 5th of the year from Green and
Boston
Craik.
penalty to
2-0
number
Boston.
18, Westfall. 2 minutes for high sticking. The time, 17:18.
Westfall gets a penalty for high sticking at 17-18. After that pile-up around the Boston goal, and now the Bruins have played 2 men short. The Leafs played 2 men short at one time.
Bill, I understand Bobby Orr has gone to the dressing room after stopping that last shot just as we came on the air.
Okay, Brian, and he certainly has been the key to the Boston defense, particularly when the Bruins have been shorthanded. 2:42 left in this first period. It's 2-0 Boston. Here's Stamkowski for Mike Walton. He comes up front, took his shot. Hillman got the rebound to Horton. Back to Hillman. Hillman closing with his shot. It's way wide. Now then, the Bruins are 1 man short as Sanderson is back on the ice. The Bruins cover up and hold it against the board.
Both Boston goals were deflections. At least the first one appeared to be a deflection off Tim Horton, who was trying to cover up in front of Johnny Bauer. Stanfield got that one. Then Hodge, cutting right through the goal crease, was able to tip one by Johnny Bauer at the 7-minute mark.
Leafs playing every man up. They have a man advantage, 6 men to 5. Boston leads 2-0. Stamkowski, and they didn't drop the puck fairly. That's Sanderson, number 17, along with McKenzie. It comes back to Hillman. His shot right past Stamkowski at the goalpost. Walton is knocked into the boards. his shot down the ice. Horton is back for it in the corner. Over for Pulford at the blue line. Pulls away from McKenzie to center. A long shot is wide. Demkowski in the corner. Shot it to the opposite side. Walton, then to Pulford. Back to Horton. Over to Hillman. There's his shot. Right on. Walton shoots. Big save by Johnson again. Horton moves up. Pulford is covered. Walton steals the puck. It's Demkowski, and he shot wide. Pulford gets it back right on to Stanfield's stick. Going down with McKenzie. They're over the line together. His shot is knocked down by Bauer. Play is called, and there's a penalty here. No, they're just calling it was knocked down with a high stick. On the face-off, puck goes to Stanley, up for Mahavlich off his skate. It goes over the red line, and it'll be called for icing. 27 seconds left in Eddie Westfall's penalty for high sticking. And the face-off is back in the lead zone to the left. Keon with Papin, Rupp, Stanley, and Mahavlich. Sanderson, Eddie Shack, Green, and Ori. Papin tried to get it back to
Last
Keon,
minute
but
of
it was
play
broken up.
in
Shack
this
races
period.
down the left side. Stanley poked it away from him, and Keon turned. Up for Mahavlich. Mahavlich over the line. Breaks through to Keon. Right in on goal. He shoots. And a great save by Johnson. Here's Keon again, getting right in front. Band on it. There's his shot, and he missed the corner. Jack shoots it down the ice. Keon to Papin. To Stanley. Intercepted by Eddie Westfall. Westfall shooting it right to Stanley. Stanley knocked it out. Westfall failed to get loose. Eddie Shack was loose on the left wing, but they couldn't get the puck to him. Rupp fails to get anywhere. Shack fell over Rupp. Rupp takes a long shot with 9 seconds left. Eddie Johnson missed it, but it was over top of the net. Corey, a pass for Lonsbury, who was hit hard by Ron Ellis, and there goes the bell to end a hard-hitting first period, in which Stanfield scored from Busick and Ori at 2:58. Hodge from Green and Craik at the 7-minute mark. From Maple Leaf Gardens in Toronto, Hockey Night in Canada.
Now at our league standings, and those Boston Bruins up on top with 33 points, Toronto second with 30. There's an important game tonight, as you can see. Detroit, Chicago, or rather New York, Chicago, and then Montreal. Of course, still anybody's playoff position yet, with a long way to go. In the Western Division, Philadelphia now on top. Only 1 point now over Los Angeles, then dropping off to Pittsburgh, Minnesota, Oakland, and then St. Louis. Looking at the scoring leaders at the present time, and we've counted Johnny Busick's point of tonight, and also Freddie Stanfield, so that means that Johnny Busick, as of this moment, is in first place in the scoring with 18 goals and 16 assists for 34 points. Then Bobby Hull. Of course, the Blackhawks are playing in Montreal tonight. Freddie Stanfield, with his goal, moves him into clear-cut position in third position. McKenzie, the other member of that great line, next with 31 points. Well, this season, the Boston Bruins have been riding high, wide, and handsome, and consistently near the top, and lately in first place. And that line that I've mentioned of Stanfield, McKenzie, and Busick is without doubt the best in the league. Now, on Sunday, November the 26th, 2 weeks ago in Boston, Johnny McKenzie got his first NHL hat trick. Here now is the videotape of those 3 goals as Jack Dennett describes them.
On November 26th, the Bruins defeated Detroit 7-5, and Johnny McKenzie had himself quite a night. His first hat trick. Goal number 1, Sanderson to Busick to McKenzie, and it's in the net. In the second one, McKenzie golfed it in. There's Derek Sanderson going across the blue line, across the front of the goal to where Johnny McKenzie's standing, and a 5-iron shot puts it in behind the goaltender. Goal number 3 was almost a gift to McKenzie, but he was Johnny on the spot right at the side of the goal as the puck lands on his stick, and he hammers it home.
Well, there you have Johnny McKenzie's hat trick, and another member of that Boston line, Johnny Busick, has also had a big couple of weeks. And here's Jack Dennett with that story.
After 12 years as a steady but rather unspectacular player in the NHL, Johnny Bucyk is starting to fill the net this year. Here in slow motion, Bucyk bangs in his own rebound for his 228th goal. In the same game against Minnesota, Bucyk scored his second goal of the night, also on his own rebound, and by doing so, he equaled the all-time Bruin record of 229 held by the great Milt Schmidt. Johnny McKenzie, who's going well, fed him this pass. Now watch this persistence in slow motion. No Boston team in recent years has shown the drive or certainly the spirit of this one. A very pleasant development for manager Schmidt and coach Harry Sinden. They're a very happy bunch of boys. The goal that breaks the old Boston record and was Bucyk's 230th is now seen at normal speed. Bucyk is off his wing as he knocks it into the Blackhawk net. This was in a later game against Chicago, so it was a battle between the two great number 9s, Hull for Chicago and Bucyk for Boston.
2 goals in the first period. Fred Stanfield's 8 from Johnny Bucyk and Don Orey at 2:58 to open the scoring. Then Ken Hodge with his 5th of the year from Ted Green and Skip Craik at 7 minutes as the Bruins lead by a score of 2-0. You're watching Molson Canadian Maple Leaf Classics on Leafs TV. About the big line of Phil Esposito, Ken Hodge, and Wayne Cashman, but the Boston Bruins have got a pretty formidable second line, and Ward Cornell is standing by with them.
Well, here they are, the biggest line in hockey. On the far side, Johnny Bucyk, Freddie Stanfield at center, and on right wing, Johnny McKenzie. And Johnny Bucyk, this has been a big couple of weeks for you with setting the records, and it's been a great year for the team.
Well, Ward, it's been really a great one for me. It's pretty hard to describe, but I'm really happy and thrilled to be on the line that I'm on.
John, this is the best line you've been on since the old youth line of about 9 years ago.
Well, Ward, we, a few years back also, Murray Oliver, who's with Toronto now, and Tommy Williams and myself, we had a couple of good years together too, but I don't think we were a line like we have right now. Right now, our line just seems to be scoring every game, and we're not stopping.
Johnny McKenzie, how did the line start? How did it get formed?
Well, it was a kind of a funny coincidence. Freddie and I were playing together in London at training camp, and we had Rossi Lonsberry, who was really playing well with us then too. Chief, he was out with a sore back, and Rossi got hurt, but just one day before we were going to play an exhibition game with Toronto. So Chief was ready to come back, and they put him in our line, and we just clicked off, and we've been playing pretty good hockey ever since together.
Well, Freddie, you've had some good years in the NHL, but never sort of outstanding ones like this year. Now, how do you count for your success?
Well, these two fellas right here, they're the big men on our line. I got the opportunity to play, Ward, and the more ice time, the better a player should play, so I just hope things go the way they're going right now.
A lot of you are alumni of Chicago, and did you play junior together much?
No, we both played for the same teams, St. Catharines Steepies, but I a little older than Freddie.
Johnny Bucyk, they tell me they're starting to call you old folks a bit in Boston now, and that you're wearing a corset for a back protection. Is that correct?
Ward, it's not actually, it's like a corset, it's a brace that I have with, has steel plates in the back, and the main thing of that is just so I don't twist my back or pinch any nerves. It's just a precaution, and I think I'll wear it whether I need it or not, because the way things are going, I'm scared to take it off.
And what about the cowboy boots? Are you wearing cowboy boots?
Well, I wear those. I wear them for one of the reasons that it is a lot easier on your back, and I find them very comfortable, and when you go on the road, you know, you never know when you're going to hit a snowstorm, and they come in pretty handy in a deep snow.
Johnny McKenzie, you're still wearing your cowboy boots?
Well, I didn't bring them down with me this winter, but I certainly wear a lot of them in the summertime.
Freddie, what about the rest of the great hockey family of yours? Have you got any more coming up into the NHL fairly soon?
Well, I got an older brother, Jack, and a younger brother, Jim. They're both in Dallas, Texas, playing in the Central Hockey League. They're still in the Chicago organization.
And what about any at home?
There's 4 brothers at home. They're still playing minor hockey in Dixie. That's in Toronto Township, just outside of Toronto.
Johnny Bucyk, what's the Boston reaction to being in first place? Can they really quite believe it?
Well, I think they're starting to believe it, Ward, and believe me, it's a happy town after what happened with the Red Sox, and I just hope that we can come up with a winning club, whether we'll end up in first is undecided, but we'll be in a playoff spot for sure, and that's where you start to go. In order to win the Stanley Cup, you got to be in playoffs.
Just about everybody has asked me, what's this thing between Boston and Montreal?
Well, it's, I don't know, Montreal is a team you can't let them skate, but they're the fastest skating team probably in the league, and we go out and we don't look for any battles of the way they have been the last 2 or 3 games, but we have to stop them, so we use our body a lot on them, and as long as we beat them, we don't want the riots, really.
Well, I would think that there was more body checking from this Boston team tonight than I've seen in about 5 or 6 years. Would that be right, John?
That's right, Ward. This is the type of hockey, if you remember 7, 8 years ago when Boston was in playoffs, this is the type of hockey we played, and we always made playoffs. And this is one of the biggest reasons I think we're going to make it this year, is our type of hockey. We're playing real aggressive, and we're not backing down from anyone.
And it's certainly exciting to watch. Fellas, the continued good luck to you. Thanks for being with us. And in just a moment, we'll return to Bill Hewitt, Brian McFarland, and play-by-play of the second period.
Well, not a bad second line. Freddie Stanfield over 60 points. Johnny Busick over 60 points. And Pie McKenzie has become a nasty little bit of business as well. And the depth of this team, when you consider that Eddie Shack is going to score 23 goals on this team as well. And he's running around in that first period bumping into people too.
Jackie was, people don't understand how many goals he actually scored, over 20 goals in 7 or 8 seasons. And in this particular game, he was running a few of our big guys. Frankie, he took a shot at, and a couple of defensemen. So Jackie was running around.
But the Bruins' depth is something that, at this particular point, not many teams can boast.
No, it was just starting to be a great, great team. And with Orr back there, he changed everything. And he gave the forwards confidence. He gave the other defensemen confidence. He gave the goaltenders confidence. So when you get a player that good, I mean, it changes your whole thinking, and it just makes you a better club. And
it allows you to do things that you may not be able to do on other teams. Take
Absolutely.
chances, be a little more aggressive in the offensive zone, maybe kind of hang back there in the offensive zone a little more, because you know that Orr's going to turn things around.
Yeah, Espo was a master. He knew Bobby where he was going to go, and Bobby knew where he was, and they just took advantage of it, staying in there, hanging deep around the goal, in behind the net. It was great.
And then between the two of them, you couldn't get them off the ice.
Oh no, it was unbelievable. It was unbelievable. And before the game, Espo would have a box of popcorn. He was unbelievable. But he just went out there and stood in the slot, and everybody knew he was going there. I don't understand today. And he had the big heavy stick, and everybody knew he was going to stand there. And yet they couldn't really stop him from taking that shot.
And couldn't stop him from scoring. Well, the Boston Bruins have gotten off to a 2-0 first period lead. You're watching Molson Canadian Maple Leaf Classics on Leafs TV.
Teams are coming up the ice now for the second period. The score, Boston 2, Toronto Maple Leafs nothing. After one period of play, Stanfield and Hodge have been the goal scorers. And now here's Brian with the out-of-town score.
Well, Bill, we've just learned that Bobby Hull has scored for the Chicago Blackhawks in Montreal at 19:51 of the first period. Bobby Hull from Makita, so the score there is Chicago 1, Montreal 1. There it is, and for Bobby Hull, that's goal number 22 for the season, and Johnny Busick has 1 point, so they both are tied once again, leading the scoring parade, both with 34 points.
Boston outshot the Leafs in the first period, 14-9. There were 11 penalties, 6 to Boston and 5 to the Maple Leafs.
Just taking note of Stan Makita getting an assist on Bobby Hull's goal, Bill. You know, he went the first 7 games without scoring a point, but what a tear he's been on lately, and he's moved right up there among the scoring leaders. 26 points now.
Well, he certainly made a big impression with the 4 goals he got in the one game. From the face-off, Boston at the south end of my right, Leafs the north end of the left. Esposito with Lonsbury, number 29, on the left side. Looks a lot like Doug Moans of the Chicago Blackhawks. Kept in by Kenny Hodge, and he hands it to Ellis. Ellis goes down the right wing over the blue line. There's his shot wide. And the Leafs have been missing frequently on their shots. Boston shot the puck down the ice, touched by Horton. It's icing, and the ice is very fast at the Gardens tonight. Faceoff will be in the Bruins zone to the right, and that's Hodge, number 8. Lonsbury is 29. Don Orey is 26. He's playing on the defense with Ted Green. Esposito is 7. Walton, Ellis, Carlton, Rupp. There's the shot, and it's wide. Lonsbury on the left wing at center. A pass for Hodge was stopped by Rupp. Wayne Carlton failed to get loose. Mike Walton was given a shove. Carlton then is hit by Hodge. Green then ahead for Hodge, and it goes by him down the ice. Horton touches it before it goes over the red line. Horton coming out. Pass for Walton. Up at center. Took a long shot. That bounced wide. Carlton steals the puck. Gets it back to Horton. Horton shoots right in front for Ellis. And Keon, who goes behind the net, changes his mind, goes into the corner. Right in front for Ellis, and he shot wide. Ellis again tried to center it. Esposito fall. Ellis on top. Keon right in front with a shot, and Johnson stopped it. Carlton is knocked down. Here's right in front, Ellis again to Carlton, right between his skates. And the Bruins get the puck down the ice. Horton will touch it, and that is icing. 2-0 Boston.
Well, the Leafs certainly missed some glorious opportunities there with Ellis and Carlton. Watch this play again. There's Ellis missing the first shot. Now the puck comes right back to them. You'll see Keon get it here in a moment. We have time. They're getting ready for the face-off and the live action. Now Keon gets that puck, and we didn't have time to see Carlton miss it as it got tied up in his skates.
Keon, Armstrong, and Mahavlich. Williams. Yes, Shack. And Sanderson. Eddie Shack. Stopped by Hillman. Williams. Over for Orr, who's back on the ice. Sanderson couldn't get out. 16:01 remaining in the second period. Boston 2, Toronto nothing.
Bobby Orr, who has returned to action after stopping 2 sizzlers in the first period.
All set to go. Sanderson with Shack. Sanderson over the blue line. Got the puck into the corner. Pronovo clears it around for Mahavlich. Just rifle it out to center ice. Dallas Smith brings it back in for Boston to Shack. Shack gets in front and was turned around and knocked down. He ends up behind Bauer. Sanderson then trying to center it. He gets it to Williams for Shack, and he just missed it. Keon then to Armstrong. Long pass for Mahavlich. Mahavlich covers Orr, then behind Keon, and it's Sanderson coming back. Ahead to Shack, off his skate. Hillman. Knocking it down the ice. Orr back for it. To Smith. Up to Williams. He shot it wide. Bauer off the boards. Sanderson keeps it in. Tommy Williams tried to center it and is picked off by Marcel Pronovo. Right on a Shack stick. Right in front for Williams, and he couldn't deflect it on the net. Mahavlich shoots it down the ice. Stamkowski racing after it with Smith. Smith gets there first, and it's icing. This game is coming to you from Maple Leaf Gardens in Toronto. From the draw, Kenzie just ducked a high shot that was headed for his forehead. Conacher is too well covered by Busick. Drags it along the boards. Stamkowski gets it out. Green to Smith to Stanfield. Stanfield at center. A long shot. Bauer stopped it, and Rupp has it. Up to Pulford. Back to Rupp. To Stamkowski. Stopped by Busick. Right on the Pulford stick. Over the line. He shot one off Green's leg. Shot it behind the net off the leg. Green runs into Stamkowski. Conacher centers it in. Pulford with a shot. Wide. Back for Stanfield to McKenzie, and his shot is wide. Busick shot it around on the boards. Comes back to Green. Here goes his shot right on. The rebound. Busick, a shot scores. Stanfield from Busick.
Well, Stanfield gets his second goal of the night, his 9th of the season, by being the opportunist. Busick will get the puck in front and feed it to Fred Stanfield here. As Bauer goes down, there's Stanfield to the top of your screen, and there you see him, number 17, getting it by John Bauer.
That's his 9th goal of the season. Boston now lead 3-0.
Boston goal scored by number 17, Stanfield. Assist, number 9, Busick, and number 6, Green. The time, 4:15.
The puck is back in the Leaf zone again. After it is Eddie Westfall, number 18. Pronovo tried to cover him. Hillman picks it off. Hillman back of the leaf net to Pronovo. Off the boards, but not out. Westfall gets his shot. Stopped by Pronovo, and he gets it out over the blue line. Hodge, a long shot. That's off the target. Westfall is covered, and Hillman starts out with Walton. Walton failed to get loose. Ellis wrapped it over the line, but of course, as you saw, Walton was inside the blue line. 14:53 left in the second period. Boston 3, Toronto nothing. Keon, Mahovlich, and Armstrong come out now. Esposito remains out there with Hodge and Westfall. Keon was hit with the puck from the faceoff, but it wasn't hard. Smith right on a Horton stick, over for Mahovlich to Keon, over the line. Keon trying to cut in, centered it for Armstrong, and he missed it. Horton keeps the puck in. Horton covered by Westfall, over for Mahovlich. He's jammed. Here's a chance for Keon, right in front of Mahovlich. A shot past the open corner. Armstrong hit the side of the net. Ends up on Esposito's stick. Stopped by Keon. For Armstrong, Westfall, 18, shoots it out. Left to Horton. He shoots it back in for Keon. Mahovlich, down. Oh, and Johnson made the save on Mahovlich. Back up for Westfall, stopped by Armstrong. Esposito turns now for the Bruins. Stamkowski got a piece of it. Now Smith to Westfall. Stamkowski took Westfall into the board, and Stamkowski went down. Hooper checked the Bruin player high. He gets it again and gets it out. Armstrong shoots it back. Doak. Hit by Stamkowski and knocked into the boards, and it's shot down the ice by the Bruins. Rupp will go back for him. And both teams are hitting fairly and hard. Face off in the Boston zone to the left. Sanderson with Shack and Williams. Stamkowski with Conacher and Pulford. Comes back to Stanley. Into Conacher. A shot deflected by Stamkowski right on Johnson.
Well, we'll take another look at that one as Stamkowski. Let's go with the deflection. There it is. Just tipping it in the direction of Johnson, but right into his pads.
Boston 3, Toronto nothing. Sanderson facing off with Stamkowski. Puck is stopped. It goes to Don Ory. Play is called, and there's an interference penalty here. I believe it's Derek Sanderson, Brian, for face-off interference.
Looks like it. Well, this young fellow, you know, is a terrific junior. He led the OHA in scoring. Derek Sanderson. He's been an aggressive young player in the past, but in the NHL, he's been minding his own business, shall I say, and playing pretty fair hockey for Harry
number
Sanderson.
16, Sanderson. 2 minutes for interference. The time, 6:46.
6:46, 13-14 remaining in the second period. Boston 3, Toronto nothing. Keon, Walton, Mahovlich, Horton, and Hillman. Back to Horton. To Mahovlich, right in front of shot, and Green came from nowhere to make a brilliant save himself. Shot down the ice. Skip Drake is out there with Johnny McKenzie to kill off this penalty for the Bruins. Hillman is checked by Drake. Shot it into the relief zone. Horton for Hillman. Mahovlich couldn't take his relay. Here's a chance for McKenzie. He goes to the corner, covered by Horton. And Mahovlich has it. Mahovlich straight up the ice. Over the line with Keon and Walton 7-foot Mavlich outside with a burst of speed on the right wing. Boston 3, the Leafs nothing. 12:31 remaining in this second period.
Well, there's Frank Mahovlich going off for a breather and getting a good round of applause. He's been playing a solid two-way game, as has Dave Keon for the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Stamkowski with Papin and Pulford. Doak coming back out on the defense.
There's Chicago 2, Montreal 1. Warham from Makita and Marat at 5:24 of the second.
From the face-off, Hillman to Horton. Up to Stamkowski. 2-5 for Papin. Smith. Stopped by Pulford. He falls. Papin digs the puck out. Centered it. Stamkowski was too well covered. Gets it back to Hillman. In for Papin, a backhand. That's wide. Doak goes to the boards with Stamkowski. They got their sticks up high and shot down the ice. Horton back for it in his own zone. Here's Stamkowski picking it up. Back to Horton. A pass for Pulford intercepted. Westfall and Craig. Craig and Westfall. Westfall getting it back into his own zone to Doak. His shot goes down the ice. Hillman back for it. 25 seconds left in the penalty to Sanderson. Westfall checked Stamkowski before he could get going. Westfall then back to Smith, over to Craig. And the Bruins have got the Toronto Maple Leafs completely disorganized. Craig over the line. Papin intercepts and comes back. Papin over the line. Lets his shot go. A high one. Horton a rebound and he's shot it 10 feet wide. Sanderson is back on the ice. Bruins are at full strength. There's a chance for Walton. And again, Doak go to the boards and cover up. Play is called. 11:01 remaining in this second period, and this game is coming to you from Maple Leaf Gardens in Toronto.
Anfield has added his second goal of the game, his 9th of the year from Busick and Green, and the Boston Bruins have a 3-0 lead over the Maple Leafs at the Gardens. Mike Walton, you come into this game red hot. What, you've scored
Yeah,
5 of your last 6 games?
Yeah, apparently I had scored 5 of the last 6, and I guess I was hot.
Now, when you get on a roll like that, obviously the net looks bigger, the goaltender looks smaller.
Yeah, it's just, you shoot everything, and sometimes it goes in off a skate or someone's ass or something. Who knows, right? I mean, you just got to throw the puck at the net. I mean, there's some, I saw some replays and I had some great shots, but you never know.
Now, when you do get on a roll like this, you're looking for more ice time.
Absolutely, and usually the coach can read who's going well and play. And in this game here, I play a lot.
All right. Well, right now we need some goal scoring because the Leafs are down by a score of 3-0 to the Boston Bruins. Let's go back upstairs to the booth.
Boston 3, Toronto nothing. Bruins now have Stansfield, Busick, and McKenzie. Walton, Ellis, Carlton, Rupp, and Stanley. Green and Ori for the Bruins. Stanley's shot hit a leg. And one thing noticeable is that Bobby Orr has been used sparingly. Here's a chance for Stansfield. He's over the line. Getting in front with a backhand, and Busick was turned around by Rupp. Stanley. Checked by Busick to right in front for Stanfield, a shot. As he was set up by Johnny McKenzie. Ori keeps it in. McKenzie then to Stanfield. Walton is given a shot. Walton comes up with it. A hit for Ellis. To Carlton. Over the line, and he's checked by Green. Green bumped by Ellis. Busick. Up for Stanfield. Over the line. Stanfield centered it, and there was nobody there. Stanfield gets it again. Gets up wide. Shot it wide. Comes back to Ori, a shot. Oh, that just missed the corner by an inch. Williams. Now the Bruins is knocked down. And Pronovo picks it up to Walt. Walton failed to get away. He's covered by Ori. And Rupp for Ellis. Back for Walton. He shoots. Other side scores. Mike Walton.
Oh, a pretty play by Mike Walton. He finished it off beautifully. There's Ellis getting the puck over. Watch the first shot. He can't score on that, but he's there for the rebound. And it's by Johnson. The Leafs finally get on the score sheet. It's a 3-1 hockey game.
For Mike Walton, that's number 15.
Toronto goal scored by number 16, Walton. Assist, number 8, Ellis, and number 4, Rupp. The time, 10:23.
10:23, and it came when the Bruins had above 5 good scoring opportunities. Armstrong moves up into the corner, centered it. Williams for Shack, too far. Horton after it. Shack gets in there first. Rolled it right in front, and Bauer grabs a hold of it. Boston 3, Toronto 1. 9:14 left in the second period.
Mike Walton, who failed to score against Minnesota Wednesday night, he missed for the first time in 6 games, but he came back to get a goal tonight.
That's Sanderson, number 16 for Boston. Right back to Smith, a shot. Bauer stopped it. Keon to Mahavlich. Up for Stanley. He's checked. The Bruins keep it in. Williams to Sanderson, and it's deflected off Armstrong. Armstrong down the ice. Over the line. Smith lost his stick, but Sanderson was there to cover up neatly. Mahavlich intercepted a pass, shot it into the Bruins zone. Jack can't get anywhere. Armstrong for Keon over the line. Keon takes a shot as Doak fell in front of it. Keon right in front of Armstrong. He shot. Another try. The hit of defenseman. Rolls back to Horton. He shot it behind the net. Doak is knocked down. Keon, this is a check. It's right through Mahavlich. It's in the shot. Keon tried to drag it loose. It comes loose to Mahavlich, and Williams gets it and gets it out to center ice. Stanley shoots the puck into the Boston zone. Jack and Armstrong bumped together. Horton is tucked, gets a chance for a shot. That hits Smith. Fulford sent it, and it's been Kelsey missed it. Williams then to Sanderson as they go end-to-end. Here's a pass for Shack, too far. It's behind him. Then Shack stepped into Horton for good measure. And play is called on the outside, and you can't see better hockey. This game is coming to you from Maple Leaf Gardens in Toronto. 7 minutes and 49 seconds left to play in the second period. Boston 3, Toronto 1. Up for Hodge, and that is deflected into the box seats. That's Phil Esposito, number 7. Ross Lonsbury, number 29. Kenny Hodge. Ori and Green on the defense. Hillman and Pronovo up for Papin. And Stamkowski over the line. It's offside. Fulford. All set for the face-off. Stamkowski over the line. He's checked. Esposito hit Fulford, but Hodge gets the puck into the Leaf zone. Pronovo to Hillman. Deflected out the center. Teddy Green has it. He and Stamkowski bump with Green going down. There's Ross Lonsbury's shot. And Papin feeds Stamkowski. Up at center. Takes a long shot. Johnson caught it, left it behind the net. There's a big jam there. Here's Fulford centering it. And he centered it all the way down the ice. Ross Lonsbury after it. And Hillman picks it off. Covered by Lonsbury. Hodge on to Fulford's stick. Poked it up the center ice. Esposito missed a body check on Papin, who went for a slide, and there's going to be a penalty there. to Papin for throwing his elbow, and Hodge got out of the way in time. But for his effort, Papin gets 2 minutes in the penalty box, boy.
Well, this is no night to be skating with your head down, let me tell you.
This is one night you need eyes in the back of your head.
Toronto penalty to number 18, Papin. 2 minutes for elbowing. The time, 13:22.
13:22 is the time of the penalty. 6:38 remaining in the second period. Boston 3, Toronto 1. There's the time to play, 6:38. Armstrong and Conacher are killing off the penalty with Rupp and Horton. The Bruins have Busick, Esposito, Johnny McKenzie, Green, and Stanfield. 4 forwards and 1 defenseman. Stanfield starting up now. Very deliberately to center ice. Takes a long shot off the boards. Armstrong tried to reach it. The Bruins do first. McKenzie's knocked down. Here's a chance for Busick. He gets it back to Stanfield. His shot deflects onto Armstrong, but he couldn't control it. Armstrong in the corner. Checked by Green, and he checks Green. McKenzie is shot right on, and Horton lifts the high one down the ice. Esposito going back. Esposito up at center. He stick handles to the defense, tried to go between Rupp and Horton and just failed. Hofer tried to get loose. Keon is out there with him. Stanfield to Busick. Busick a pass for McKenzie, just failed to crack it outside. Busick getting in alone, but Johnny McKenzie was just the length of his skate inside.
Well, we heard how Johnny Busick is breaking all the Boston records this year, the Milt Schmidt's goals and assists and total point record, but the Boston assist record is held by Bill Cowley, 345, and Busick had 341 coming into this game tonight.
Boston 3, Toronto 1. As we have 5:26 left to play in the second period, there's still 45 seconds left in the penalty to Papin. Boston with a man advantage, 6 men to 5. Flipped over the line, McKenzie's covered by Cookford, and Johnny Bauer shot the puck down the ice. Green is back for it. To Busick. Cookford fails to get away, and here's Stanfield again with Busick. Into the late zone. Horton goes with Busick. They bump together. Horton and Esposito with Busick getting it to Stanfield. A shot, and Bauer grabs a hold of it and play is called. 4:44 remaining in the second period. This game is coming to you from Maple Leaf Gardens in Toronto. Boston 3, Toronto 1. All set to go. Sanderson, Shack, and Williams. Goldfield nearly went in front. He did. Sanderson right in front of shot. Oh, and Shack's drive was stopped by Bauer, who just got his glove on it. Papin back on the ice. You can't come any closer than that, Eddie Shack, without scoring.
Oh, fast Eddie thought that was right in the net, and we'll watch it here as Pulford loses the puck. Now watch Shack move in. Get the stick down, Eddie. There it is. Look at that opening. Bauer gets the arm back and down just in time.
And I think that's one time I believe Eddie Shack didn't want to have a curve in that blade because he just couldn't get a direct shot on a backhand.
Bobby Orr behind the linesman on the Boston bench.
We might point out, Brian, he's only had one turn on the ice in this second period. They've been using Dope, who's now out there with Ori. Here's a pass in front. Ori dropped it down, whacked one wide. Hillman shot it onto the side where Tronovo gives it to Mahavlich. The teams are even. Full strength, Shack missed. Mahavlich with a body check. Ellis for Walt, and it goes in over the blue line. Stopped by Gary Dope. After Shack, Ellis breaks it up, can't get loose. And Eddie Shack shot the puck into the lead zone, and Hillman goes back for it. Hillman to Ellis. He's checked by Derek Sanderson. Hillman trying to pull away from Sanderson. Sanderson had him covered. Shack got the puck loose, but not in time. Sanderson, Shack, and Williams. Keon, Armstrong, and Carlton. There's a shot. Power had to knock it off to the wing. Stanley to Keon. Over the line with Armstrong, and over Armstrong's stick. Right in front for Carlton, and he couldn't get his shot. He sent it out in front, and there was nobody there, and the Bruins get a hold of it and get it out. Stanley to Horton. For Keon. Offside, Wayne Carlton. 3:14 left in the second period. Boston 3, Toronto 1. Skip Craik at center ice now with Lonsbury on one wing, Hodge on the other. George Armstrong. Over with Keon. Keon for Carlton. Carlton is dumped. Hodge goes down on top of the puck. Play is called. From the face-off, Westfall. Back to Hodge. Got the puck into the lead zone. Armstrong, the first man back. For Carlton, too far. Westfall kept it in. Now Horton tries to come out. Hodge broke it up. Stanley shot it around on the boards, and it's Armstrong. Out to Carlton. It's got a breakaway. Oh, and he hit the goal post. Here's Stanley, and a roll over his stick. Horton at center ice. Shot it over the line. Lonsbury covered by Armstrong. Takes a shot to Keon. Takes a shot. Still has it. Behind the net. Centered it for Armstrong. The Stanley shot. They're all around the front of that Boston goal, and they hold it out.
Well, we'll take another look at that one, as first Armstrong and then Keon did some great stick handling, but they didn't get their shots away. Watch Keon now circle the net completely as the Bruins try to cover up in front and watch for the loose puck. Armstrong has it and tries to get it back to a teammate, but no success there as the Bruins are able to smother the front of that net.
Boston 3, Toronto 1. 2 minutes and 1 second left in the second period. Stamkowski with Fulford and Conacher. Back to Hillman. Knocked into the corner, and it's Busick after it. Busick up to McKenzie, back to Busick. Stansfield on his left. They're over the line. Fulford backhands it, but not out. Stanfield hooked it for Busick. Here's a chance for Stanfield over to, and a shot. Knocked over to the right side, out to center ice. Tipped by Conacher into the Bruins zone. Ori goes back. He falls. Conacher tried to center it. Green put it in behind Conacher as Johnny McKenzie came within an ace of scoring for the Bruins at the Leaf end. Going to have difficulty controlling the puck. Boston 3, Toronto 1, 1:22 left in the second period. Face have Walton with Ellis and Mahavlich. Horton and Stanley. Here's Walton with a shot right from the face-off. Covered by Doak. Mahavlich gets it loose. Walton is knocked down. Play is called, and Doak will get a penalty for the Bruins. Doak of Boston, number 25, comes to the penalty box. That's the third penalty of the second period.
Boston penalty to number 25, Doak. 2 minutes for holding. The time 18:47.
18:47. Boston 3, Toronto Maple Leafs 1. Chicago leads Montreal 2-1. 1:13 left in the second period as Hillman gets the puck loose, getting set for the backhand. It's wide. Walton trying to center it. Keon picks it up. Coming in front. Trying to get it back.
Last minute of play in this period.
Westfall having problems, and then Green bats it down the ice to center. 51 seconds left in the second period. Smith falls and holds it there as Green props Walton against the boards. Face-off is in the Boston zone to the left. Keon with Armstrong, Walton, Havlich, and Hillman. All ready to go. The puck is dropped. Keon had it for a moment, was too well covered. Then Walton shot. And the rebound to Westfall, and he shoots it off the glass down the ice. Hillman to Mahavlich. Randy to Craik. Craik stopping the Leaf player. Keon to Armstrong. For Mahavlich. And it was tipped out by Green. Westfall shot it to an open wing with 18 seconds remaining in this second period. Boston leads 3-1. Leafs have a man advantage. Armstrong to Mahavlich. And he just failed to reach Walton. It's offside at the Boston blue line with 5 seconds left. Stanfield from Ori and Busick at 2:58 of the first period made it 1-0 Boston. Hodge from Green and Craik at 7 minutes even, 2-0, and that's the way the first period ended. On the faceoff, Green gets it out. There goes the bell to end the second period, which Stanfield scored his 9th, his second of the night from Busick and Green at 4:15, and Walton scored for the Leafs his 15th of the year from Ellis and Rupp at 10:23. And so the score at the end of the second period, Boston 3, Toronto 1. Johnson has played a fine, steady game in the nets for the Bruins, and he's coming on the ice now for the final period. And Boston are leading the Toronto Maple Leafs 3-1 after 2 periods. The Bruins at the north end of my left for this final period, the Leafs the south end of the right. Now for the out-of-town scores, Brian.
Well, they have quite a game going in Montreal tonight, obviously, because Lemaire has scored unassisted for Montreal at 16:55 of the second, Chicago 2 and Montreal 2. New York is playing at Detroit tonight. Jarrett has scored the lone goal there from Hampson at Smith at 17:15 of the second period. Detroit 1, New York no score. And in the other out-of-town action, Pittsburgh at Minnesota. It was a scoreless tie, but now Pittsburgh has scored. Koenig from Schinkel and Stratton at 3:44 of the first. Pittsburgh 1, Minnesota no score. And let's wish Gordie Howe a speedy recovery, Bill. He was hospitalized today, and I believe he passed a kidney stone and should be back in the lineup for the Detroit Red Wings at the first of the week.
All set to start the final period. Keon, Mahavlich, Walton, Horton, and Hillman as the Leafs have a man advantage to start this final period. Bruins are shorthanded and are using Westfall, Craik, Green, and Ori. Keon back to Hillman, over for Horton. It ends up on Walton's stick. To Hillman, back to Horton. Up for Mike Walton. Takes a long shot off the boards. Mahavlich a hot drive, and Green just got a piece of it. Walton keeps it in. Centered it for Keon. Johnson missed it with his glove. Back to Horton. Into Wolf. Walton tried to center it for Keon. Mahavlich goes to the corner. Back to Hillman. There's his shot, and Green gets it ahead to Craik. Up at center, and Doak is back on the ice. Bruins are at full strength, and it's offside at the Leaf blue line. Boston 3, Toronto 1.
Those Bruin defensemen are certainly giving Eddie Johnson all kinds of protection tonight, and we've just learned that Bobby Orr will sit out the rest of this hockey game. He bruised his left shoulder in that second period. Saw limited action. As a precautionary move, Harry Sinden has decided to let Bobby Orr have the rest of the night off.
So Doak will play with Smith, and he's out there now, and it's Esposito with Hodge and Lonsbury. Stankowski for Conacher. Got the puck into the Boston zone. Doak goes back for it. Touched it first, and that's icing called against the Maple Leafs. Boston outshot the Leafs 14-9 in the first period, and they were even in the second, 11-11. There were 11 penalties in the first period, 6 to Boston and 5 to the Leafs. 3 penalties in the second period, 2 to Boston and 1 to Toronto. Stanfield, Hodge, Stanfield, and Walton have been the goal scorers in this game so far. 18:52 to play in the game. Boston 3, Toronto 1. Stankowski with Conacher. Conacher is turned around, gets the puck right on the Doak stick, and Doak for Esposito, and the Bruins are starting to check the Leafs before they can move. Stankowski a long shot. Johnson gives it to Lonsbury to Hodge. Hodge watched by Pilford. Picked off by Doak. Doak taking his time, trying to find a man in position. To Smith. Up for Esposito. Tipped out. Stankowski to Horton. Right on to Dallas Smith's stick. He comes down alone over the blue line. Checked by Rupp. Pilford for Stankowski. Too far. Doak goes after it. Icing is called against the Leafs. And we'll have a face-off back in the Leaf zone to the left of Johnny Bauer.
Well, the Boston Bruins are unbeaten in 7 games, and no team has ever gone from last place in the NHL one season to first place the next season, but they hope it'll happen this year. Look what happened to their Red Sox in Boston, from 9th place in the American League to a title.
And I believe if you look at the Bruins record, if they had played even better against expansion teams, they'd be way ahead. But they certainly have had no trouble with the present teams. Here's Mike Walton. He breaks through alone, going in with Ellis. There's the shot, score!
Well, that was the most sensational rush of the night. Mike Walton gets his second goal, number 16. Look at this one. This is something to watch as he makes his key play just about now, right through. That's the place to stop it down. Now the shot as Johnson comes way out to block the
Toronto
angle.
goal scored by number 16, Walton,
Johnson,
unassisted.
15 feet out,
The time,
right into the corner.
2:15.
That's an unassisted goal for Mike Walton. His second of the night and his 16th of the year. Walton falls. It's out at center ice. Walton shoots the puck into the Boston zone. Boston now lead the Leafs 3-2. Carlton keeps it in. Ellis hasn't got a stick. Knocked back to center ice. Hillman. Up for Ellis. Sanderson covered Carlton. Hillman. Long shot. Johnson stopped it. Here's Key on the rebound. Oh, what a great save by Johnson, who just got a stick up. As the Leafs took advantage of a momentary lapse. Here's Eddie Sakichance. Shoots wide by about 5 feet. Right in front of Sanderson, and he's rolling wide. Carlton for Keon. For Ellis. Ellis down the right side, over the line. A nice play by Horry to break it up. Hillman shoots it into the Boston zone. Ted Green. Stopped by Keogh. And he gets it again. Green stopped by Horton. Horton keeps it in. Takes his shot. Horry fell in front of it. Busick. He's checked. Keon right to Mahavlich, a shot. Armstrong turns. His shot. Back to Horton, a shot, a weak one. Horton after it again, and Horry drives it down the ice to relieve the pressure. Boston 3, Toronto 2, 15:56 left in this hockey game.
Well, we had some excitement there. Dave Keon got loose in front of Eddie Johnson, and Eddie Shack, watch him have trouble with the puck there. Keon taking that quick shot at Johnson, and it almost dribbled off the stick and into the net. Shack made up for it in a way by going the length of the ice and feeding a pass to Sanderson, and he almost connected at the other end.
I think we have to say this is the best game of the season, Brian.
No question.
Stemkowski, Papin, Mahavlich, Horton, and Rupp. For the Boston Bruins, ever dangerous, Fred Stanfield with Johnny Busick and Johnny McKenzie. Here's the shot by Papin, and a save by Johnson. It's kept in by Stemkowski. Smith ahead to McKenzie. It's knocked back into the Bruin zone. Doak is after it, but it was a delayed whistle. And that's the offside.
Bill, I understand Gordie Howe was in the hospital this morning, and here he is getting a goal for Detroit tonight. He was released this afternoon. They talked him into letting him suit up, and Howe scored at 19:37 of the second. Bergman scored, and it's 3-0. Got an assist,
really
too.
something, Brian.
Got an assist on Bergman's goal.
He must have heard you when you wished him luck. On the face-off, Rupp shoots the puck into the Boston zone. Stopped there by Gary Doak. Out to Johnny Busick. Knocked in by McKenzie. He bumped into Stemkowski, and Stemkowski nearly went down. Mahavlich is taken on the play. Busick is covered, and Horton comes down the ice. Up the center. Over the line with Papin. Horton around the defense. He's tripped. There's going to be a penalty here to Smith for tripping. Boston 3, Toronto 2, 15:13 left.
The extra man hasn't helped the Leafs so far this evening. In past games, too, their power play has been something less than potent.
Now, as a matter of fact,
Boston penalty to number 20, Smith. 2 minutes for tripping. The time, 4:47.
You took the words right out of my mouth. I'm just going to say that the Boston Bruins have had just as many good scoring opportunities while they've been shorthanded. So the Leafs move to another power play. They've got Keon this time with Armstrong, Mahavlich. Papin was out in the earlier part of the game, but now they're going to put Horton out there and take Papin off. Hellman is the other defenseman, so they've got 3 forwards and 2 defensemen. Right back to Hellman, over to Horton. There's his shot. Mahavlich failed to deflect it. Hellman for Mahavlich. Back for Hellman. Tips it to Mahavlich. He's coming from the side, a shot. Another try, and he shot it back on the net. Here comes the Horton. There's his shot, right on. Hellman fanned on his. Drake clears it. Mahavlich and Green were shoving together. And there will be penalties there. Green and Mahavlich.
Well, the crowd reaction speaks for itself. You can tell how they're enjoying this hockey game tonight.
So now Boston plays 2 men short and the Leafs 1.
Boston penalty to number 6, Green. 2 minutes for roughing. Toronto penalty to number 27, Mahavlich. 2 minutes for roughing. The time, 5:10.
.5:10 of this final period. So the Leafs have Keon, Walton, Hillman, and Papin. Westfall, Horry, and Doak. for the Bruins. On the face-off, it's cleared out and down the ice, and Pappen has to go back for it. Jim Pappen to Dave Keon. Back to Pappen. Shot it into the Boston zone. Doak, checked by Keon. Kicks it with his skate. Trying to get away from Doak, and Westfall picks it up and shoots it by Pappen down the ice. Hillman back for it. Leads for the man advantage. 5 men to 4. He shot it into the Boston zone. Ori, covered by Hillman, no further play. 14:07 left. This game is coming to you from Maple Leaf Gardens in Toronto. Boston 3, Toronto 2. Keon gets the face-off. Walton couldn't get in front. Shot down the ice. Bauer stops it. Now it's Horton. Walton races down the right side. It goes to Keon. He shot it in. Walton after it. Ori right into Horton's stick. And he couldn't clear it back. Esposito races after it, and Hillman's there. Hillman to Horton. Then to Keon. Keon shoots. And Doak fell in front of it. Horton. For Hillman off the board. There's his shot. That hit Doak on the ankle. Walton is too well covered. Esposito covered by Walton, but on the ice comes Smith for the Bruins, so they're all even now at 5 aside. A shot right on. Horton to Pulford. He's spun around by Doak. Esposito comes back. Backhand. Bauer stops it, and Pulford takes over. Pulford with Ellis on his right, up on the left. Mahovlich is back on the ice. The teams are at full strength. As he came out along with Green. And they jammed there with 12:39 left in the game. And the score, Boston 3, Toronto 2.
The Boston Bruins have lost only 5 games this year. They've won 14. They have 31 points. Toronto in second place with 29. They'd like to move a little closer tonight with a tie or a victory. But the Bruins have been pretty stubborn up to this point. Detroit third with 26. New York fourth, 25 points. Then Chicago and Montreal. And if you were to say that's the way they'd be halfway through the season or getting close to it, a lot of people would say they must be upside down. Pittsburgh 1, Minnesota no score. Or Pittsburgh 1, Minnesota 1. Wojtowicz scoring from McMahon at 7:42 for Minnesota.
Sanderson of the Bruins gets the puck in the relief zone. He's out there with Shack and Williams. Williams takes a long shot. Bauer caught it. And then Stanley back. Here's Stamkowski. A long pass for Armstrong, too far. Smith picks it off for the Bruins. He lost it. Sanderson makes sure of it. Cleared it around on the boards. Armstrong keeps it in. There's his shot. And it hit the side of the net. Green around on the boards for Williams. Stopped by Stanley to Mahovlich. Back for Stamkowski. Stanley behind the net. Right back to Armstrong. He shoots it. Oh, Stamkowski failed to put it in the open side. Ed Green gets away from Stamkowski, gets it up to center. Green, I think, was caught with a high stick. Bauer knocks it down, back into the boards as nobody came back to help him. Armstrong is covered by Sanderson. It's poked behind him and out over the blue line. Williams in for Smith, who shot it into the lead zone. Rupp. Too far for Mike Walton. Ori to Duke. Coming up the ice at center. Shot it into the lead zone, and it's Marcel Pronovo. To Hillman. Hits the line. Eddie Shack comes back. Out over the blue line for Gary Doak. Gets it back to Ori. Up to Stanfield now is out there. Williams and Shack are going off the ice, and McKenzie comes out with Busey. Ellis tried to get loose on the right side. The pass is too far for him. John Ory gets it out over the blue line. Stanfield up in center. Long shot. Was over top of the net. Wayne Carlton went back for it. He's checked by McKenzie. Comes back to Ory. Here's his shot. That's just off the target. Goat lets one go. That hit Walt. Carlton back for it. Carlton is down. Walton for Ellis. Goes to the corner. Ellis picks it up. Trying to center it. Tries twice. Carlton turned, then lost it to Busey. Williams ahead to Stanfield. Trying to move clear and shoot. Bauer got a piece of it. And Pronovo tried to hold it. He couldn't. Stanfield right from the side, right in front of him. McKenzie was still the backhanded in the net. Now Stankowski with Ellis. They're over the line offside. Ellis waited too long, and both Stankowski and Carlton went over the blue line. This game is coming to you from Maple Leaf Gardens in Toronto. 26. Wrapped for Clifford. Up to Patton. Over the blue line. Got it into the corner. Off the boards. Rupp moves up with his shot and went to the corner on the opposite side. Lonsbury off the glass for Green. To Esposito. Topped against the boards by Pulford. Stamkowski facing off against Esposito. Goes to the board, Smith. Up to Lonsbury for Esposito. The pass for Hogg. Bauer came out of the net. Horton goes to the corner for Pappen. Back to Horton. Horton pulls away from Esposito. And Lonsbury to Stamkowski. Up at center. A long shot. Bounces. Johnson knocked it to the corner. Stamkowski couldn't center it. Pulford did. Pappen missed it. Rupp took a shot. Oh, it's a flux right in front. Here's a chance for Rupp again. A backhand, and it's picked off nicely by Smith, who's playing a very steady game on the Bruin defense. Here's Hodge getting a break. Back to Lonsbury's shot. Bauer waved at it with a stick, and he missed it, but it was off the target. Green back in his own zone. To Esposito. Up for Shack. Up covered him. Armstrong. For Keon, Ory broke it up to Williams. Right on Bauer, feeds Armstrong. Sanderson took a long shot, but Bauer steered to the corner. Williams checked. Keon coming up for Armstrong. Over the line with Mahavlich outside. 7 minutes and 30 seconds left. Boston 3, Toronto 2.
Jim Nielsen has scored for the Rangers from Sealing and Kurtenbach at 9:52 of the third period. Detroit holds a 3-1 lead in the out-of-town game.
Keon, Armstrong, and Mahavlich facing Sanderson, Shack, and Williams. Hillman a backhand. Johnson steered it to the boards. Ory is content to hold it there for a faceoff.
We had a penalty-filled first period here tonight, but since then the teams have played rugged, but they've been sticking to hockey most of the way. Real oddity, speaking of penalties, the other night when Ferguson got a triple minor penalty, 3 minor penalties all at the same time, and Bergman too, when they clashed.
Well, one thing, Brian, for sure, it's been a very exciting hockey game, and the checking has been clean. When they hit, they've been hitting cleanly. All set to go. The puck goes back to Ory. Ory starts out with it. Sanderson with him and Williams. Armstrong skates Ori off. Hillman to Armstrong. Shack intercepted that. Just missed a check from Pronovo. He stepped out of the way. Armstrong hit by Shack. A shot by Sanderson right on, and a nice save by Bauer. This game is coming to you from Maple Leaf Gardens in Toronto. Minutes and 58 seconds, the time remaining to play in this hockey game. Walton, straight up with Conacher. A pass for Horton. Horton from the side, tried to center, it was deflected and picked off by Green. Up he comes with a pass for Busick, it failed to collect. Bauer out to Horton. To Walton. He's checked from behind by Busick. Stanfield, watched by Walton. Hanley took Stanfield out, and Walton is shoved. Down goes McKenzie. Ellis, a long pass for Conacher. Takes his shot right on. Conacher in the corner. Trying to center it. Stanley keeps it in, and he shot it into the crowd. And play is called from where he fired it, just outside the blue line. 6 minutes and 3 seconds left. Stanfield, Hodge, Stanfield, Walton, and Walton have been the goal scorers. Stanfield's 8th and 9th, Walton's 15th and 16th. Hodge getting his 5th. And there's the score as you saw it. Boston 3, Toronto 2. Kaplan shoots the puck into the Boston zone. Fulford after. Stemkowski. And Fulford tried to combine. Kenny Hodge brings it back. Shot by Hillman. Dope. Checked on, he's tried to knock it down, but Stemkowski gets it back into the Boston zone. Smith stopped by Papin. Came right in front. Dope kicked it away with a skate. Lonsbury stopped by Hillman. Esposito shoots it down the ice, and Pronovo has to go back for it. 5:22 remaining in this hockey game as Hillman for Pronovo, kept in by Hodge. Lonsbury has it for Esposito, and he's failed to get a shot. Lonsbury again to Hodge. The Bruins have the puck in the weak zone. Back to Doak. He shot it 20 feet wide. It's right in front, and Bauer got it back. Hodge again to Doak. There's another shot, and that just missed the target. Hodge centers it. Esposito a shot. And Bauer gets a hold of it finally as the Bruins really put the pressure on.
Well, we'll take another look at that goal-mouth action there, as Bauer had to be very quick to save at least one goal. There's a shot just off the corner. Watch the player go in there, Ken Hodge, and try to scoop it around in front, but Bauer gets there just in time and managed to cover up on the play.
4 minutes and 53 seconds remaining. Ori a shot. Bauer got his glove on it. Sanderson trying to center it, and Keon gets the puck. A long shot. Missed the net. Havlich for Keon, covered by Eddie Shack. Horton shoots it into the corner. Havlich centered it for Keon, and his shot was weak. Comes back to Horton. He took a shot that goes into the corner on this side. Williams gets it out to center. Keon to Horton. Over the line for Mahavlich. Mahavlich takes the shot. Still has it to Keon. He fanned out of the quick corner. Keon is down. Blasted wide. Sanderson shoots it to the blue line and is knocked down by Armstrong. Armstrong's shot. And the Leafs pour in after it. Teddy Green got to it first. Keon tried to get it back. It goes to Williams. Williams shoots it out. Sanderson is inside the line. It's knocked out by the Leafs, so it's not called on the outside. 3:38 left in the hockey game. 3-2 Boston. Williams, a pass over the line. Mike Walton gets a hold of it. Carried by Sanderson. Puts the puck over the line. Ellis Ellis goes after it, but Smith takes it away from him, centered it. Here's Marcel Pronovo's shot. The Conacher. They roll it, it's going to score! There'll be no goal.
They will not count the goal. Let's watch it as Conacher pushes it in with his hand or lets it roll off his glove into the net. Here it is here. Watch closely on this shot by Pronovo as Conacher lines up to the side. Here's the shot. Conacher's hand comes down. You'll see it in a moment. And he pushes it in the direction of Johnson, and somehow or other it rolls into the net. There's the play, and they're not going to count the goal. Bill, did you see it any differently?
No, I think you... The question is whether Brian Conacher's glove when he pushed it or whether he was turned around and the momentum pushed it. But I think you saw it the way the referee saw it, and there's going to be no goal, so there's only one winner when the referee's out there.
Well, it looked to me as though he made a definite motion or push with the glove, aiming the puck in the direction of the net. Punch Imlach, of course, is thoroughly disgusted with the call.
I'm just wondering, though, if when it was deflected onto Johnson, whether Ed Johnson put it back into the net.
The goal was disallowed as the puck was thrown into the net by a Leaf player.
Well, that's the official verdict. Thrown into the net by Brian Conacher. Now we're going through the explanation all over again. That's Scholl making it extra official. A key goal in an important game like this.
3 minutes and 19 seconds left. Boston 3, Toronto 2. On the face-off. Conacher. A weak backhand. It's cleared up to Stanfield. Over to Busick. Pass for McKenzie just failed to play. Long shot at Bauer. That bounced. Martin for Ellis. Bumped by Busick. Cleared back in the lead zone. Horton coming out. Up for Conacher to Walt. Over the line for Walt. A pass for Ellis. It's in front of the defense. Danley moves up. Conacher's lost his stick, and back goes Busick. Conacher after him. Danley bumped into Busick, so does Conacher, and they start shoving a little bit. But nothing else happens. 2 minutes and 36 seconds left to play. Boston 3, Toronto 2. Faceoff, Stankowski, Pappen, and Pulford. Rupp and Hillman.
There's Harry Sinden, the extremely youthful-looking coach of the Boston Bruins, giving instructions to his players. There's a fellow Ren Blair said should have had a chance in the NHL, but never got one.
The puck is in the lead zone. Esposito holding it against the boards. Play is called. 2:26 left. Yes, Bart?
Harry Sinden played in the Eastern League with Kingston. He was head and shoulders above Jacques Leperrier, who was a promising young defenseman a few years back. Somehow or other, Ren Blair could not convince the Boston Bruins to give him a tryout.
Puck was knocked down with a high stick, so we'll have a face-off. On the face-off, it's shot back into the Boston zone. Ori, number 26, right in front of the net. Pappen just failed to put it in. It's right in front again. It goes back out over the blue line as the Bruins guilty of trying to get out of their own zone and leaving it there. Hellman to Stepkowski to Pulford. It's his shot, a high drive, and Johnson got a piece of it. Rupp kept it in, but it had come out, definitely. He tried to keep it in, but that was definitely outside the blue line. 1:58 left to play in the game. Boston 3, Toronto 2.
And the play they'll be talking about after this game, should the score remain the way it is, will be that disputed play wherein Brian Conacher tapped the puck or pushed it behind Eddie Johnson for a goal that was disallowed.
Goes back into the Leaf zone, and it's Stanley back for it. Esposito to Hodge. There's his high drive. Bauer was knocked down. The shot by Esposito went over top of the net. Keon tips it up the center. Over to Mahovlich. He's got a break. Closing in. He shoots. He shots wide. Horton lets one go. Right on the net. And Johnson gets a hold of it. And holds it out.
And he takes a big, deep breath right about here. Here's the play by Mahovlich. Watch this shot go just wide of the net. Johnson moving well out to cut down the angle. He was a little bit off balance there, but the shot was wide. He scrambles back. Horton moves up. Armstrong lets him take it. And there's another shot that Johnson is able to cover up. It lies just outside his crease.
The key really on that save had to be Uri, who just stopped it from being just a little faster. A great play by Don Uri, number 26, the Boston defenseman, who got a piece of it, enabling Eddie Johnson to see it at the last second and cover up. Now we're all set to go again now. 1:32 left in the game. Boston leading the Leafs 3-2. At one time, Boston led 3-0. Referee Arts Go, the linesmen are Brent Castleman and Ron Eagle. Mahovlich and Sanderson for the faceoff. Sanderson got the faceoff. Mahovlich got after it, though. It goes to the corner. Stanley and McKenzie, Keon, Sanderson, and then Ted Green moves in there to make sure everybody doesn't move.
Well, we keep a close eye on Punch Imlach, see if he waves Bauer out of the net shortly.
We just saw the time to play, 1:24. Having a few false starts here. That's because each player is trying to get the draw, and it's so important. Green has decided to take the face-off with Keon. Keon gets the draw back to Stanley. Stanley let his shot go, and that's wide. Keon sends it to Mahovlich, shoots. He shot wide. Sending it out in front again. Keon off the boards for Mahovlich, and it's taken there by McKenzie. With the exception of Keon holding him there. That nearly started something. Bauer is fairly well out of the net, as you can see. But so far, he hasn't been asked to come to the bench. We have 1 minute and 8 seconds left. Boston Bruins leading by 3-2.
Well, Imlach wants Mike Walton out there at center. Walton playing that hot hand, the big goal scorer in recent weeks. 2 tonight. Got Pulford out there and Ellis. Now he's got Pappen out there as an extra body, and Johnny Bauer will go to the bench.
Here goes Bauer, as Brian has mentioned. Lace will use 6 attackers, 1:08 left. Esposito, Hodge, Westfall, Green, and Smith. Horton keeps it in with a shot right in front of the net, and it goes back to the blue line. Hodge shoots it down the ice, and Horton...
Last minute of play in the game.
Horton, a pass for Walton, broken up by Hodge. He's checked. Ellis over the line, takes his shot. Pulford a shot. Oh, and Johnson stopped that right in front, and it's knocked out over the line. 46 seconds left. Mahovlich shoots it down the ice. Green stops it. He shoots it back. Horton got a piece of it. Horton trying to bring it out. Does. He's dumped by Esposito. Mike Mahovlich at center. Over the line for Pulford. Teddy Green gets a hold of it. Goes behind the net. Pulford after him. Jams him against the boards. Green holds it, and we have 18 seconds left. Boston 3, Toronto 2. Ellis with Walton, Clifford. Now then, Keon and Armstrong come out, replacing Paplin and Ellis. So it's Clifford, Walton, Keon, Armstrong, Havlet, and Horton. Now then, for Boston, Esposito will stay out there with Hodge, Smith, Green, and Westfall. From the face-off, here's right for the Mahavlich shot, and that hit a leg. It's right near the side of the net. Smith checked. Keon holds it against the boards. They all pile in. We have 8 seconds left. And Green is hurt.
Oh, he stopped that shot. And it might have been a key save, of course, because Mahavlich really let one fly. Green blocked the shot beautifully, but naturally he was injured on the play, falling right in front of that tremendous drive by Mahavlich.
I think it may have caught him on the kneecap.
He's got those bad knees to begin with, Bill, and that apparently is where it did catch him, right on the knee. Doesn't really matter how much protection you have in there. You can only put so much in there, and when a fellow like Mahavlich lets one ride, it's going to hurt.
Now let's hope he's all right, because he's a steadying influence on that Boston defense. They're taking him off the ice, and Bobby Orr was hurt in the second period, and they certainly missed him in the third.
No question about that. The Leafs pulled their goalie exactly 1 minute ago with 1 minute and 8 seconds left to play. There are now 8 seconds left on the clock. This may be the last face-off deep in the Boston zone. There goes Ted Green to the Gardens Clinic.
All set for the face-off. From the draw, it goes to the corner. Walton gives it to Keon. Keon right in front, Armstrong, he scores!
Armstrong scores as Keon set him up. Here's the play. Into the corner. Walton chases. Keon gets it right here. Watch Armstrong move in. Comes right to his stick and in behind Johnson. It's a tie hockey game. George Armstrong scores at 19:57 of the third period.
Toronto goal scored by number 10, Armstrong. Assist number 14, Keon, and number 16, Walton. The time, 19:57.
19:57 is the time officially. Armstrong from Keon and Walton.
And that is number 6 for George Armstrong, and they'll have to take all the papers off the ice. It's been very rare at the Gardens that you've seen them throw the programs on the ice, but it's been that kind of a hockey game. It has just been superb all the way through, with both teams really flying.
Well, you know, Bill, when this game started out, you almost had a sneaking suspicion for a few minutes that the Boston Bruins might run up with one of those 11-0 scores like they did in here a few years back. The Leafs kept pecking away and got stronger as the game went on, and of course the loss of Bobby Orr in the second period and then Ted Green with 8 seconds left to play were two big factors in this 3-3 tie.
Yes, they were really riding high with Orr and Green in good shape. Bobby Orr went out after one play in the second period, and then, of course, the key, Teddy Green getting hurt in the last 8 seconds. All set for the face-off now at center ice. Walton knocks it to the blue line. It goes in. There's the bell. The game is over. And it ends in a 3-3 tie. Boston 3, Toronto 3. And the scoring plays in the final period. Walton unassisted. At 2:15, Armstrong from Keon and Walton at 1957 with the Leafs using 6 attackers, tying it at the 1957 mark. In a moment, our 3-star selection and summary.
Ladies and gentlemen, here are the 3 stars of tonight's game as selected by Foster Hewitt. The first star, Fred Stanfield. The second star, Mike Walton. The third star, Frank Mahavlich.
Leafs get 2 goals in the third period. Mike Walton and George Armstrong with just 3 seconds left to pull off a 3-3 tie with the Boston Bruins. You're watching Molson Canadian Maple Leaf Classics on Leafs TV.